Okay, help. Test. 1, 2, 3. Right, right. That's fine. I'm not going to start exactly 7, so. You were right. Okay. Got 1 minute.
This is the chat. I need to and they should appear right here.
Okay.
As soon as I start, okay?
Yeah, okay. If I have any problems, I'll let you know, and then somebody can bring them. I'm waiting to exactly 7 to. If I could have your attention, we had 14 people signed up, so we got quite a few here tonight versus that. And I'm not going to be using this microphone because we're doing this as a podcast live, so I'm going to try to talk a little loud and make sure you can hear me. But for the most part, you know, this was set up for the 14 people that we thought would sit in front, so I'll try to talk loud enough to have everybody. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run through a presentation, and we're going to tell you guys a little bit about our company and what we did to acquire the golf course, and then about memberships, and then we'll get into the rental program for Commons 1 and Commons 2 and take question and answers after that. So I do appreciate you being here. First of all, my name is Chip Smith, and I'm one of the principals in Atlantic Golf Management, and in the back is Alice, my better half. And what you'll see with us is there's 3 owners in the company, myself, Andy Apple, and Steve Harnish. I'm more of the management and marketing side of the business and have been in the business along with Andy and Steve. We've all been in business over 25 years and been in the golf course business and resort business quite a while. So my background, I said, is marketing and management. Andy is one of the leading agronomists in the East Coast. Andy and get in a few minutes. And Steve is in the food and beverage business, has been his whole career. So we feel like we've got a good team. We've got, you know, the marketing and management side of the golf course, or of the business, the agronomy side, meaning the maintenance of the golf course, and the food and beverage. So we'll look to do a lot of things to make this a really good community and improve things as we move forward. We've been involved in the golf business here in the Myrtle Beach market as well as in Florida for a number of years. And some of the places we've been involved in is Prestwick Country Club, which is down in the Surfside Beach area. Legends Resort on 501, which is a 54-hole resort, plus 2 other courses they have outside, one of them up here, Oyster Bay. Barefoot Resort, been involved in that as well. TPC Myrtle Beach, we bought the TPC from the PGA Tour a number of years ago, and you'll hear more about that in a few minutes, and did a big turnaround down there. And then also Wellington National. Wellington National is a golf course in Florida that you'll hear more about in just a few minutes as well. In addition to operating these golf course facilities, what we've done is spent a lot of time in the last few years has been in renovations. So we think it's important to come in and renovate, and you'll see some of that as we move forward as well. So recent renovations I'll talk about are TPC and Wellington National, as well as Whispering Pines. We purchased in 2006 TPC, and quite frankly, when we got there and bought it from the tour, the joke was that TPC stood for terrible playing conditions and not Tournament Players Club. It was not that great. I happened to live on the golf course and was able to purchase from the tour. And we immediately started doing renovations similar that you'll see here. In a short period of time, TPC went from the condition it was in to being rated as the only 5-star rated golf course by Golf Digest in the whole Myrtle Beach market. No one has ever achieved that mark since. So we went from not very good to the highest rating out there available, a lot of money, to being something we're very proud of today. It did 24,000 rounds a year when it was not very good. It did 52,000 rounds this past year. So the public has really seen what a good condition golf course at a fair price can be like, and they've responded very well. This is a picture of the golf course that we walked into in Wellington, Florida. Wellington's a unique small town in Palm Beach County, and we got a phone call from a guy that I knew that really wanted to own a golf course but never been into business, and said, I need some help. And so we went down and we purchased this golf course with a partner, the gentleman in Wellington. When we got there, it was $15 to play golf there, and that included a hot dog. It was really bad. As you can see from this picture and this picture, this is kind of what we walked into a couple of years ago. I will tell you that today, this is what Wellington looks like. Well, Wellington National in a 2-year period has gone from as bad as you saw to a few weeks back being the host for the Monday qualifier for the PGA Tour's Honda Classic. Because the conditions are so good, the PGA Tour chose that as their Monday qualifier course for the PGA Tour. So we've had quite a success in Wellington and the renovations there as well. Some of you have seen we've been here. We closed on the transaction on February 28th and we took over March 1st, but in reality we signed a contract to get, and the previous owners allowed us to come in and start making plans and doing things. So we started early on putting together a plan and doing things. So we were here well prior to March 1, but some of the things that we've been able to do has happened pretty quickly. I'll tell you on the golf course side, we need to get to about May when the nighttime temperatures warm up quite a bit, and you're in a climate where Bermuda grass is the main grass, and it won't start really growing at a rapid rate until about May when the nights are a lot warmer. So we've decided, what can we do until we can start getting turf conditions better on the golf course? So we came in and we started doing a number of things, like, as you might see in this room has been, the ceilings were popcorn ceilings. They've all been smoothed. This building has been painted from here, the bar, the foyer. This carpet went down last Thursday. The bar has been retiled. The hallway going to the restroom has been retiled. You walk through a construction zone in the foyer tonight. That tile will be finished tonight or tomorrow with carpet going in before the end of the week. So a number of things like that. In addition, we came in day one and put out 6,000 new range balls on the range. They were a little bit tired and beat up. So as I like to say, you guys have a nice facility and all, it's just a little tired and it needed some work. So that's kind of what we do going into these programs, is we try to come in and assess what needs to be done and do that work and try to provide a better climate and a better facility for everyone, from a golf course to the clubhouse as well. So there are other things on the golf course that will happen. There's some bunker renovations that need to happen and those type things. I said a minute ago, I always get ahead of myself before we do this, about all the carpeting and tile, which I just went over a minute ago. The bigger change you're going to see as villa owners in Commons 1 and Commons 2 is we're going to move the staff for check-in out of the current resort building. They will come into the downstairs area of this clubhouse where real estate used to be. Real estate is now upstairs. So guests will start checking in here at the clubhouse instead of over the resort building. And all this will be headed up, and I'm sorry I'm this far in the presentation and I haven't said this. We made a change in resort management when we took over day 1 too, and Scott Thrillkill is here with us today. Scott is our new resort manager, and Scott comes to us with a lot of energy and a lot of experience, so we're really pleased to have Scott on board, and the direction he's gone already in the first 20 days has been remarkable. And we're going to present something tonight for the people that have their villas in the rental program that I think will be a breath of fresh air for everyone. So with that said, thank you, Scott, for being here, and I apologize for being 10 minutes into this. So, but with going back to the building, one of the things we'll do is by moving all the staff out of that building where construction and resort has been, they'll come into this building, and that building will be gutted basically, and that will become a sports bar and pub. So you'll have, as a community, you'll have a second restaurant here. We've done it before. We've already completed a menu. The architectural plans are complete. We've gotten with zoning in Brunswick County as far as parking. So to make sure parking's not an issue in dealing with the Commons 1 area, that we have adequate space to handle that. So all that has been done as well. So you'll have a fun atmosphere and somewhere different than just this bar to go to as residents of Brunswick. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We're probably on a 3-month to 4-month project to getting that complete, but it's going to be a really good, fun atmosphere, very heavily golf themed with a lot of memorabilia and things like that in there. One of the things that people always ask about in this memberships, and when you see this, don't panic, I'll get to the next slide in a minute and you'll understand more about it, but the golf course will remain semi-private, and so we'll have the memberships available. And we'll do a golf membership and a social membership. And the golf membership's broken down in a number of categories. But the golf membership will have a $12,500 initiation fee. With the main membership will have $2,000 a year dues. That includes 50 rounds of golf in that $2,000. And then we ask that in that you spend $40 minimum in our food and beverage facilities per month. So I think very easy to achieve if you're up here, even once or twice. So there's also an unlimited golf membership that was in existence when we got here, $7,150. So there are a number of people that are avid on their golf and they chose to go that route, so they can play golf, as many times as they like during the year for that price. And then there is, on that same line, there's one for single people. That's a family at $7,150. The single is $4,500, same as it was last year. We just incorporated that same program from last year into this year. And then the social membership. There are a number of people that don't play golf, but we feel like it's important if you live in a community like this where the golf course is the centerpiece of it, and what makes your real estate values in a lot of cases happen is whether or not the golf course is well maintained and kept up. That takes participation. So we have a social membership at $3,500 initiation fees, $250 a year dues, which is very reasonable, and $40 a month minimum spending in the food and beverage. We'll also, with some of these upgrades we're doing, have more catering abilities to do things like weddings and reunions and different things like that. So now, here's the part that I said don't panic about. The initiation fees. I know from what I've been told, the history of Brunswick Plantation, some people have paid no initiation fees, some people have paid $10,000 or $20,000 initiation. I can't stand here and look you in the face and say you need to pay another initiation fee. It's just something that you've already done, and nobody'd be happy about having to pony up another big amount of money. So what we've done is, if you live in Brunswick Plantation, you have until December 31st to decide whether or not you want to be a member, socially or as a golf member, and that initiation fee is waived. We think by December 31st, that's a 9-month period. You've had an opportunity to see what's going on, and after that, if you decide to join, the initiation fees will be in place, but we are relaxing them and doing away with them for the next 9 months. If you are a resident and you decide not to join, the rates you see up here, basically during season, as you see the dates, will be $75 to play and during the off season will be $50 to play. The one thing that I didn't cover is, especially for the people watching on the podcast tonight, if you are an out-of-town member, you live more than 150 miles away, and you use your unit just sporadically, we do have a seasonal membership, and that seasonal membership gives you 20 rounds of golf for $800, and you get all the full social and golf privileges as any other member. You're just limited on your golf because you're a limited amount of time you're here. So I'm not sure if most of you live here or some of you just happen to be down. I talked to a few people that just happened to be here at the same time as this meeting. So we have that available for the seasonal membership as well. Some of the things on the rental program that I'll get into now past the membership. The rental program, you know, we've hired Scott, as I mentioned earlier, and Scott's got a lot of experience, but you know, one of the most important aspects of the rental program is to try to make sure that people in the rental program are financially healthy, because what happens when the rental income is not enough to pay for your POA dues or your mortgage or cover some capital expenses that you have to reinvest in, it becomes an issue. Do I want to be on that program or not? And I'll tell you from doing these communities for a long time, when that happens and people start making those decisions and they flood the market with wanting to resell, the prices go down, which you've seen here, or it becomes an annual rental program where you say, I don't want to mess with that unit, I'm going to rent it to someone on an annual basis, and then the whole concept changes. You get people that you may or may not want as neighbors in there, and it spirals in a downhill manner in a hurry. So we want to make sure that we're doing something that will really help try to get you guys in a little healthier position. One of the things that hasn't happened in the past is it hasn't been very transparent. You haven't known what kind of rental income your unit has even generated in the past. So Scott came in, and Scott was able to dig into the analytics side of the business and determine every single unit on our rental program. We now know what kind of revenue that unit generated on an annual basis. So instead of the $600 a month program, which is $7,200 a year, we're going to make an offer to all our rental guests to go with a 50-50 split. So for every dollar that we bring in, 50 cents is yours and 50 cents is ours. And I will tell you that probably 90% of the units will see quite an increase in what they're doing in terms of rental income. The ones that don't see that income, that other 10%, probably need to look at some upgrades. You know, flat screen TVs, their carpet might be old, they might have some outdated, you know, furniture, different things like that. That's just not as desirable, because a lot of times you have people that stay in these units and say, I want to be in unit 1202 again next year because they liked it. The less desirable units don't always get rented as much. So we think with the 50-50 split, there's a good opportunity for you to make more income. I will tell you, when Scott and I did this analysis, there are units that will push $1,000 a month under this scenario. And like I said, most of them will be well beyond the $600 a month. So I think it's a great opportunity to help get the Commons 1 and 2 a lot healthier. And then what we will do over time is we think it's important to continue this program to do some other upgrades. One of the things that I was shocked at when I got here was seeing the typical house key as the locks for resort programs. That's not typical in a scenario like this. So as we start increasing your rental income and we ask you to invest in some things, we may say we want to go buy all digital locks. So the guests can be given a code, and that code will start at 4 p.m. this Thursday, and they check out on Sunday. It's going to end at noon on Sunday, or whatever the time. You can program all that in. If you have an exterminator, you'll be able to program in an hour period or whatever they need for them to go in and out. And you'll also be able to look at these by the computer program and know who was entering your unit or not. Because there's other things that can happen. You can have a case where you don't know if your unit was rented or not, if somebody was in your unit or not. It's a lot easier to figure those things out with the new digital technology on the locks. So we think that that's something that is important, and as we start increasing your rental income, we'll bring that forward as something we'll want to include in the rental program. We have that rental history, like I was talking about, broken down by every single unit. We have 2017 numbers on every single unit in the rental program. So if you want to call the rental office and say, what did mine produce last year, to give yourself an idea of what your potential is for this year. We think it's going to increase because of all the things we're doing here at the club and our marketing programs, but I think you'll see that with the 50-50 split, there's a lot better opportunity to make more money and feel better about where you're going with your unit. So that's kind of the rental program side. We've ordered new towels and linens, which is, when we got here, there was quite frankly not enough to run the business the way it should be run. So our guests will be doing with a lot newer towels and rentals as we move forward. And one of the things that we have done, and I need to clarify this because people have been sending me emails about this, is we've adopted a no pets policy for our guests. If you own the unit and you want to bring your dog down, that's your business. You own the unit. But we have reservations on the books we have to honor. But moving forward, we don't take reservations with pets any longer. It just leads to your unit deteriorating again. So we'll do that again. Your unit, you come down, that's your business. But we're not gonna allow that from a rental standpoint and take the liability of the pets. The other thing we don't do is we're not renting for single nights any longer. I always say the single night equates to a party. So you get into the off season when the rates are low, 10 teenagers get together and pony up $10 a piece. They've got a unit that they can have a party for, and those 10 people end up inviting 50 more, and you guys that live there know what that neighborhood turns like. So we're going to be very, very strict on who we rent to and what we do. We've even had conversations with trying to figure out, can we limit who comes through the gate as guests after 11 p.m., a number of things like that to try to cut down on the element that we don't want there. We want vacationing guests and we want golfers that are on golf packages. We're not really interested in the other crowds, and we'll enforce some of the things that probably haven't been enforced in the past a little stronger. And as I mentioned earlier about the rates, we've increased the rates to try to attract a little better clientele than have the lower rates that attract what it does at times. I've been emailed a number of questions, so I'm going to put a couple of those up there. And then this podcast is set up to where if someone asks a question, I will be able to get the question, and then we'll go from there. So with that, the telephone and internet services are owned now by Atlantic Golf Management, which was owned by Call before. So we'll continue those. We know there's upgrades that need to be done. The internet can be slow at times when there's a lot of people in here. So we are looking at the telephone and internet system. It'll take a little bit of time, but we are looking at upgrading that as we move forward. The villa owners, I was asked will they receive the same 5 weeks. That is in the plan to do that as well. And we'll be more diligent in investigating damages when somebody comes in there. We have someone that comes in behind the maze and checks the units, so we still have credit cards on file and a couple other ways to try to hold down on the liability going back to the homeowner on those damages. The phone number, if you want to call and check for the villas and see what the rental income was, if you're watching this on the podcast tonight, is you can call 1-800-332-8576. I'm still having to look at it. It's new to me as well. So you can call and we can provide you information on your individual unit, and we'll be able to go there. So.
Got 2 questions. One, what type of digital locks would you recommend?
So those digital locks would all be the same for every unit. We wouldn't ask you to go out and purchase your own digital locks. We'll come back to you with a program and say, we're going to institute this program with this company with this digital locks, because we don't need to try to have computer programs operating 6 different companies' digital locks. So we'll have a uniform policy with that, as we'll have with some other things. We'll try to uniform microwaves, stoves, different things like that on replacements as we move forward. So we can provide you, all the units on the rental program should be as similar as possible. So that's one. Yes?
All right. Can we also ask what's going on with the Commons 2 pool? Could you elaborate on what's going on with that?
Sure. So for those of you who are in Commons 2, when we made the purchase of the golf course, this was a very unusual circumstance. We purchased a golf course and resort. Never before have I seen a purchase like that that included the pools for condominium projects like this. So it was included, the indoor pool at the resort building, Commons 1 pool and Commons 2 pool were part of the purchase. I'm still scratching my head a little bit about that because it normally belongs to the condo association or the HOA, but we do own them now. Commons 2 is a little bit of a dilemma right now. They, your leadership, meaning your president or your board of directors, have chose not to pay the bill for the amenity fees for the last 3 months. So unfortunately, they've been collecting your money, but they have not paid the bill. So we're faced with a dilemma: do we shut down the Commons 2 pool altogether and make it just available to our visiting guests? It's not fair to the Commons 2 owners at all, but I would encourage you to talk to your board of directors and find out why they're collecting your money and they're not paying the bill, because we're looking at an April 1 deadline of doing just that. I've also made an offer to sell the pools, for the outdoor pools at Commons 2 and possibly at Commons 1. I've made an offer to sell them the pool for $5. I'm not in the pool business. It's a break even at best on the amenity fees, so it doesn't really matter to me, but I will tell you that if they'll give my guests that I have in there certain rights, we'd be happy to do that. But at this point, it's been a difficult conversation. So let me get the online questions and I'll get to you in just a second. Yes?
Is there any money owed for 2017?
There is. December is owed, and then now January, February, and March. Yes, ma'am?
I was just wondering if the pools and the pool area was in beautiful condition, would you still be interested in selling it back for $5?
I would be. I'm not in the pool business, so.
But you are in the resort business,
Right.
and most resorts do offer pools. So that being said, if Commons 1, for instance, doesn't take you up on the $5 offer, what will you do to upgrade that to the resort?
So I'll be happy to spend as much money as you guys want to on that pool, on pool 1 or pool 2. If the HOAs don't want to spend any money on those pools, which everybody uses and would be able to enjoy, then I may make those upgrades. But again, they may become pools that are only good for my guests. Yes, yes, and I think that's only fair. Yes, Jeff.
When will the 50% of the split begin?
We're looking at targeting April 1 for that. Yes, sir.
And as far as the pools go, what are your plans for the Common Ones pools, indoor and outdoor, as it stands right now?
Right now, until we figure out where we're going, we have made no plans there. You know, until we decide whether we're going to sell the outdoor pool or not, we haven't made any plans. I will tell you, if we keep it, we are going to do some upgrades, come back to Commons 1 HOA and say, this is the cost, and it'll be X number of dollars per unit to go that route. Because it's, again, everybody uses it, everybody should share in the cost.
But does that include the indoor pool too? You planning on keeping those?
You know, my original plan was to shut down the indoor pool altogether when we built the restaurant. We've decided now not to do that. You know, it depends on the usage and where that goes in terms of the relationship and the cost as well. Let me get to a couple of these and then I'll get back online as well. Yes, ma'am.
Two questions. With the pool, who's going to have the responsibility for anything happening in the pool? So the liability insurance, would it be the homeowners or you?
Well, it depends on who owns it. If I own it, it will still be my responsibility, but those costs will be passed along through the amenity fees.
One other question. We are permanent homeowners. Now, the digital locks that you're asking, are we going to
No,
have to install?
no. I have nothing to do with anything. Totally up to you. I'll go here and then here. Yes, sir.
I'll give you an easy question. With the $40 minimum, your restaurants, are they going to serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or what?
So you'll see breakfast and lunch here. We'll do a combination of lunch and dinner over here depending on the time of the year. If it's college football season, hockey season, something sports oriented, we'll probably be open for lunch over there. That mainly will be a 4 p.m. other than seasonally around sports. So, but yes, there'll be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have to, I got to tell you guys, we are maxing out on our memberships to the point of we really don't know what to do. We said we were going to do 80 to 100 social memberships. We're already there. We said we were going to do 300 golf memberships. We're going to pass that in the next day or two. We're getting 50 to 60 a day. So we're going to have to step up and perform on the food and beverage side. Yes, ma'am, and then I'll go here.
Again, back to spread that they're filthy. They have
Now, who is they? Let's define who they is.
The HOA.
Right, right.
The rusty nails are sticking out.
Right.
So basically, if painting the railings that make the place really look to me slum-like, we can't afford to do that. How could we afford to take care of the pool and really do the repairs and pay the liability when you've got even just beyond, let's say, guys having cocktails and coming out. If you did take the pool over, then the HOA, if the homeowners didn't necessarily want to participate, as you know, we do have the option of other pools.
Right.
And being that the finance is pretty prohibitive at this point, we could basically opt out of that option, correct?
Well, you could. I mean, I'll get into like comments too. When they came at me so strong about demands of what to do, my simple reaction was, hey, this is easy. I'm not in that business. I'll bulldoze the building and we're done with this conversation. So that's not what we want to do. We want to make it work. But I inherited an old building, and I'm not going to spend the money on them without participation from the associations. I'm going to go back to the internet a minute, and I'm going to get you and you. Yes, Jeff?
All right, I've got several questions here. The first one is, will the same level of golf be offered to the public?
So again, there's a couple of things going on. The membership has well exceeded where we expected it to go. So we're not going to need as much outside as we do. But I'll tell you, the golf course has been underutilized for the last few years. I've seen the historic rounds on this golf course, and for 27 holes, it's not been utilized that much. But yes, we'll still do outside play, but with the membership growing, that's going to require more tee times.
All right, next question is from Dawn. If you're not in the rental program, is there a way to put a key lock so if private owners want to purchase a yearly package, they're able to?
I'm not following what they really mean there. If you're not in the rental program, what you do with your unit is your business. I have nothing to do with that or the HOA, so that's up to the individual owner.
All right, next question. Would you consider splitting the upgrade costs of the pools with the HOA?
No. Simple answer.
Next question. If I chose a seasonal golf membership now and I moved down permanently in 2 to 3 years, will I have to pay $12,500 initiation fees at that time?
No, I'm never going to penalize someone from being a member and upgrading. That's great of them to do that. So if somebody is a social member and decide next year they want to be a golf member, somebody's a seasonal member and moves down here and decides they want to, join in some form, I'm not going to charge you an initiation fee for continuing to be a loyal patron of the golf club.
All right, I got one more. Will the Commons owners in leaseback still have to pay $35 monthly phone charge and deep cleaning fees? Can you state the phone number again?
I can state the phone number, those charges. I tell people all this all the time. I'm 20 days into this. What all's going on with all these other charges, I just got to look at you and say, I don't know. I've been trying to dig into the numbers to increase revenue so much that I haven't looked at the small monthly fees and things like that yet. But we certainly will. The phone number that you were asking about is 1-800-332-8576. Okay, I'm going to get back to the room for a minute. Yes, sir. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Thank you. Two questions. First is, you're talking about this $40 minimum for membership. When are you talking about, when are you going to have a facility that warrants the $40 minimum?
April 1, it starts April 1 as a membership. Right. We're changing the menu, and we have a 12-month social calendar that will be pretty active starting April 1.
Okay. So the second question is, there are some of us that own property that are not.
Units now is a lot more than what we have, so getting back in would be easy. I'm going to go here and then here.
Two questions. When I spoke to you maybe last week, you had said something about putting all the condos on an A, B, C, like rating them A, B, or C.
Correct.
Is that still in the
Sure. So we have a team that's going out right now and going through our rental units right now, and they're rating the units. We have a checklist of 2 pages that we look at everything from whether a ground floor unit to the condition of unit to digital TVs to flat screen TVs, I'm sorry, to conditions, and we rate it based off of that. So What you'll find in most cases, before the rating's even done, I can tell you this from history, the units that are in great shape have the highest income. The ones with the lowest income need some upgrades. And we'll address that with them, because we've got to be able to rent a unit to people that we know that the guest is satisfied when they leave. They don't say that was not very good and we're not going back there. So our reputation's on it. So we'll address that with homeowners. And if they don't upgrade, then we'll replace them with some units that are a little better.
And how will you work the system of renting so that there's not maybe favoritism going to certain people?
Well, I will tell you, the favoritism starts with A's and goes to B's and so forth. The D's will be the last units rented out of desperation almost. Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick, I know I have to see this gentleman probably. Does he have an office or somewhere? I'm on the rental program.
Okay.
I went in to check, and they said that I'm not on the books, and I signed a contract and everything. Also, will I be getting a new contract because of the price change?
You will, and Scott's office is in the resort building. He's there daily. So he's up there right now. We haven't moved yet, so I'm sure Scott would be happy to check into that for you.
But then we'll sign a new contract from the old one, from saying I'm gonna get $300 a month or whatever. And
Sure.
are you allowing this 4 months? We were allowed 4 months with not renting.
4 months. We have a 5-week on the contract.
Okay, they gave me 4 months.
Okay. Yeah, we can look at that tomorrow, whenever you'd like. Let's see. Let me go here, and then I'll get back to live, and then we'll get you. I'll get you. I'm gonna go here, and then back to the chat. Yes, sir.
Okay, I've heard different rumors concerning picking up our mail at the rental center. What's the story?
Okay. I don't want to be in the mail business either. So one of the things that the POA is looking at for both is getting with the post office. If you go to most villa projects, when you go to them, there's a bank of mailboxes, usually with a little roof over it. They're investigating into doing that right now. So that hopefully your mail is going to start being in a box like most places have. Okay? Yes, sir.
Hi, it's always been my understanding that part of our monthly dues went to Karkoff for the pools. And I was told it was $40 a month, thereabouts. So I'm thinking 150 units, $40 a month, that's $6 grand, that's $72,000 a year. Are you saying if we give you $72,000 a year, that's not enough money to maintain these pools?
It is to maintain them, and I'd be happy to show you every expense associated with it, but it's not enough to do capital improvements to it. They've been breaking even at best. You've got a huge liability insurance policy for the 3 different pools. You've got, the monthly maintenance of them with a pool company taking care of them, chemicals. It goes on, but I'd be happy to share that because, again,
If we did choose to make some repairs, we could ask our homeowners association to deal with you.
Certainly.
Maybe we could chip in $42 a month for a while and give the money to you and get new chairs.
Sure. We can, if you're interested in that, we can put those numbers in front of you and show you what it would cost to do that. I'd be happy to do that.
I'm just thinking, if we bought the pools from you for $5, what's to keep all of your renters from coming into our pool? And what a hell of a nightmare.
Well, I will tell you that's the only way I would sell them that would be the only way I would sell them would be for my guests to have those rights forever.
That would be terrible
Right,
for us. How
right.
could we get into
Well, you gotta, I'm gonna stop you all and tell you, yes, Jeff.
Okay, will you still honor, I never played 20 rounds a year, I play about 10.
Yeah, so the passport will be honored for our seasonal guests that are out of town. If you live in here permanently and you choose not to be a member, the rates I had up a minute ago of 50 and 75 will be the only thing. I won't honor passports or any cards to residents that live in here if they choose not to join.
When does that take place?
April 1. April 1.
But you said earlier, 31st, you have to decide.
Right. So if you did,
So those people who don't decide till December 31st still have the right to the amenities here?
no, they'll have the right to play golf if they're not a member for $50 or $75 depending on time of year.
But not be in the membership clubhouse.
Well, there'll still be things where you can come in on, like you do for happy hour and things like that, but there will become a lot more members-only events starting in April. We've had so much success with the membership so far that, like Easter lunch, if the members, then we'll go a different direction, but they've stepped forward and written checks for a lot of money to say that they're going to support this. Yes, Jeff? See, when will you receive?
The rating on the condo units.
We're probably about 30 days out from that because we got 120 of them and we've been through maybe a quarter of them so far. Yes, sir.
You said April 1st you're going to start with the 50-50 with the rental program?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
Right now you're giving us $600 a month?
Correct. Right.
So is there a chance that there's going to be people making less than $600 a month at that time when the rating comes out?
There is. There's probably 10% that their units are not maybe up to standards
10% out of all?
out of all of them. We went through every single unit and looked at the annual income and took 50% of it to see if it was above the $7,200. And there were very few that were not.
When will we find out? I mean,
You can come by tomorrow. We've got,
Come by tomorrow and I will
if you're on the rental program, we have your unit and exact income from last year. We can tell you what you would have made.
And when will it be graded?
The grading's taking place, like I said a minute ago. Now it'll take us about 30 days to complete because there's so many units. But yeah, I would imagine if you've got a unit that you feel good about, you're doing well beyond the $7,200 a year. Let's see. Yes, sir.
I live off, I probably don't know the whole course. I live off number 7 Back Road. My backyard, I'm going to the golf course and get that big runoff of the water.
Right.
We had pipes installed in straight. There's a vacant lot and the house is down. Golf course used to maintain, golf course and cut the weeds down there.
Right. If it's on golf course property, we'll take care of it. If it's on the developer property,
If it's not being done?
no. If you can send in, information, you can send it into the pro shop or wherever you want to. But the maintenance staff is responsible. If it's on the golf course property, we will be maintaining it. If it's a vacant lot beside you that the developer owns or somebody else owns, we won't touch that.
You guys used to take care of it and they stopped doing it.
Well, that doesn't mean. Well, you got to understand though, the developer used to own the golf course. I don't own all those empty lots, so if it's not on the golf course property that I bought, I won't be touching it.
It's on there, I know it's
Okay.
on there.
Okay. All right. I'll take a couple more questions and see where we are with the live chat, and then be happy to answer any afterwards. So I got 1 and 2 right here.
A question, I know that all the units have no smoking, but the units that have them, the people are going outside in the front, when you go in the entrance, they stand and they put their cigarettes out on the concrete, and I cannot tell you how many times I've gone out there and scrubbed it myself, because like one lady says, we look like we're in the ghetto. Is there any way that we can get that stopped?
Well, we can put that in our rules. It's things like that. I can say there's no smoking on the golf course, and it's going to happen. But we can put it in our rules and certainly try to help with that. People that smoke, and it's hard to stop. When we first got here, there was 100 cigarette butts off the front porch out here, and we've since cleaned them up and talked to people, and it's gotten much better. So hopefully we can do the same with you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's the chance of getting out to fiber here?
We're actually been talking about that when we're talking about telephone and internet upgrades. That's one of the things we're talking about. It is extremely expensive. So again, I'm sorry? Yeah, but the capital outlay, and again, we'll have to make that decision, and we make that with each condo association and say, do you want it? And here's what the cost is going to be. So it's all about what you want. Yes, what everybody votes on and wants will happen. Yes, sir.
You get a condo membership, and then you decide that you want to go to the premier membership,
No, wait a minute. Do you live here or are you down part-time?
part-time.
Okay.
But then you decide to live here,
Yes.
and you want to go to a premium membership.
Right.
I was told in the clubhouse that there may be a cap on those premium memberships.
There will be. There's got to be.
So if you're a absentee, for lack of a better term, an absentee member, and then you decide to become a resident in a condo or
Right.
otherwise,
Right.
you're not guaranteed a spot in that.
You may end up on a waiting list. Again, I think we have a small facility, meaning the room we're in right now and the clubhouse for a large membership. And when we start talking about 300 golf members plus 100 plus social members, call that 400 times 2. What am I going to do with 800 people? This room holds, we had 150 in here last night and it was wall to wall. So there may be a waiting list. I will tell you, if you join and you end up on that waiting list, you're not looking at initiation fee. You're just waiting on somebody to drop out. Jeff, let's go back live, and then anything after this, I'll be happy to answer afterwards.
All right, I got a couple of 3 questions here. Were the accounts payables and accounts receivables purchased from call for Commons 2?
The accounts receivables were. We worked out something on accounts payable, and so the call when we bought the golf course, they paid all the payables themselves.
All right, next question is, how do we apply for a part-time membership for out-of-towners?
You can call the pro shop. They've got all the information on that, and you can give them the information over the phone.
Can you succinctly say what has to be done to resolve the pool situation?
Yes, they've got to pay the bill. They're three months, getting ready to be 4 months behind from money they've collected from you. So, I'm sorry? Commons 2. Commons 1 is perfect. It's great. Yeah. John. I'll tell you, John's sitting here tonight. It's been a pleasure dealing with John so far. So it's been great. So I can't say the same on the other side.
All right, there's one more here. This is more of a comment, I guess. If you live out of state and you only come down a few times a year and join social membership, how can we be expected to spend so much money a month in the restaurant?
I would actually not recommend you join and be a social member if you lived out of state and only came down a few times a year. I would recommend you buy the minimum package on the golf, and if you enjoy the golf that way, because that golf gives you the social aspect as well.
I think you just answered the last one. Do seasonal golf memberships include social memberships?
Yes, and seasonal does not include minimums. All right, listen, I thank you all for being here tonight. The gate, what we've done with the clubhouse and the golf course, and we are here to stay and look forward to being part of this community. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Scott will be glad to give you.
I got to